Are you a little disappointed by the fact that not a single content creator on YouTube has been able to really articulate clearly what the actual inputs or timings are for a super counter in Dragon Ball Sparking Zero? Well, today we're going to take a look at that. First thing you want to do is get into battle training mode and put it on the Z counter mode. I'll explain why shortly. But I'm going to give you the inputs right away. Yep, 20 seconds in, we're doing this. So on the right hand side of your screen, you're going to see my controller input. You notice I'm holding up and then I'm pressing square. I repeat, I am holding up, I'm holding my directional input upwards first, and then I am pressing square while I am holding up. Once that input goes through, whether I succeed or not with my super counter, I let go of both of those buttons and I do it again. I hold up first. While I am holding up, I enter my square button, like so. And so I like practicing this on Z counter mode initially specifically because this is the best way I found to be practicing the timing precisely as opposed to just gambling away at a string of combos. And so you might be wondering what makes me an authority on practice. Well, aside from being a regional vice president of sales, I'm also a jazz musician. Alright, so enough of that. By the way, please like and subscribe if you found this video helpful at all so far. I also stream on Twitch, so feel free to drop by and say hello. Now back to the training here. The gist of it is this, in summary. I do not flick both buttons at the same time, nor do I hold upwards the entire time. You cannot do that. You have to re-enter the input whether you succeed or fail each time. Now once you've done this for a couple of repetitions in the Z counter mode, go into regular training mode, set your NPC opponent to be attacking or balance strategy, what have you. Just make sure he's on super difficulty and then just practice and you'll get the hang of it. Initially try to isolate super counters and just get used to that. Eventually you can start doing other things as well. So let's put this back in slow motion so you can see what happened here. You'll see me moving in just to provoke the enemy. He's going to teleport. And then I'm going to be holding up already, preemptively, and then I press square, right? I attack, he teleports again, I hold up again, and then I press square again. Each one was a separate series of inputs. I was holding up as I pressed square, but I held up first. So one more time, I approach. You're going to notice on the controller overlay there that I'm holding up right now. Then I press square. I let go of both of those inputs. I hold up again. I press square while I'm holding up again. And then I let go of both of those inputs. So that is the most consistent way I've found to be able to do this. Of course, if you're being comboed, you do have to just retrain your brain, kind of rewire it to enter the directional input. So hold up and then square and then do that quickly enough in quick succession, so that you can be hitting those super counters when you need to. But this is much better than just flicking and gambling away, especially considering that there's a 12 frame cooldown. So if you mash super counter, you're not really going to get it any more than if you would have done it slowly. Well, quote unquote slowly, not too slow, of course. That's not going to help you either. So that being said, again, just to summarize, I am not holding upwards the entire time, nor am I flicking both inputs simultaneously each time. What I am doing is I'm first entering my directional input, so I'm holding up first, then I'm pressing square. Whether I succeed or fail doesn't matter. I let go of both inputs. I re-input my directional input. I re-input that, meaning I hold upwards on my joystick, on my left joystick, and then I press square again. I let go of both buttons. I hold up, I press square again while I'm holding up. I let go of both inputs, so on and so forth. Rinse, repeat. Keep practicing this. Now just keep in mind, you want to be doing this in training mode eventually with the super difficulty NPC. The reason being, at first you may want to isolate the super counters and get really comfortable with the timing and also the series of inputs. It's going to take a while to get used to doing it this way. Most of our brains are just wired to hit both inputs at the same time. So many of you, I'm sure, are just flicking right now. But I found that to be inconsistent, especially if you don't quite get the timing of the flick simultaneous on both of your hands, basically. Especially considering that super counters are very strict in their timing. You really only have a couple of frames to do this. So the most consistent way I found, again, was to enter the directional input first, hold that, and then enter square, and then let go and restart. Once you've done the isolation part of this, meaning once you've done a bunch of repetitions of just focusing on super counter, you do want to just start integrating this into your overall gameplay strategy, right? You want to just integrate super counters back into your general flow of fighting. And your general bread and butter combos and what have you, because what you don't want to be stuck doing is find yourself in a ranked match and only sort of tunnel vision on inputting super counters and lose the game because of that, because you do have a lot more sort of tools in your toolkit that you should be utilizing and leveraging, like Z counters, like Vanish Wars. You should be doing Vanish Wars. That is an actual mechanic that builds up your skill points. You need those skill points to, you know, go into instant sparking or use your other abilities, what have you, right? So you should be utilizing those things. Don't just tunnel vision on super counter, but once you have the timing down, you know, start by isolating it, just as a musician would isolate their scales and their chords and their arpeggios. Once you have that down, you want to let go of the rules. Once you've learned the rules, you want to let go of them and actually incorporate all of that into the music you're playing, right? Into the battle you're fighting, right? You want to actually use all of the toolkits to actually make something meaningful out of them. And, you know, remember to use your perception, like right there. Remember to, you know, be offensive sometimes. Don't just stand there and provoke the enemy and hope to God that you win the defensive war. Sometimes you do want to be on the offense. In fact, a lot of times you do want to be on the offense. Just be mindful of that. Get the timing down. Once you're comfortable, let go of that. Don't tunnel vision on this, and just keep training and trying to incorporate it basically in your overall strategy and your approach to battling your opponent. Anyways, that was a ton of words. I hope this was helpful. I hope I finally cleared it up. I know there was a debate on whether or not you could just hold up or not, or if you have to flick. The answer is nobody has it right so far as I've seen anyways. The best way, in fact, that I've found to do this is actually to hold the directional input first. While you're holding it, input the square button and then let go of both, then re-hold the directional input, press square while you're holding it, let go of both, so on and so forth. Anyways, I hope this helps. See you in the next one.